Lucas Hayes' social media post live pic forgot to turn off the background sound. A delicate girl voice came out of the picture. "You've ruined my underwear again. Can you stay with me for one more day? I don't want you to go back to that nagging wife. My friend was kind enough to warn me, so I'm not afraid to make a scene if I overhear." Lucas Hayes snickered. Does she have any other recourse than that? Indeed. In the old days I would have thrown a tantrum. But this time, I just nodded and did nothing more. Lucas Hayes called me. "The flight is delayed. Don't wait for me for dinner." His voice on the phone was calm and indifferent. Even his explanation was a bit cold. In the past, when I heard such words, I would have said, "It's okay, I'll wait for you when you get home," and then rambled on a lot of nonsense to pass the boring waiting time for him. But now, I just gave a faint I didn't even say take care on the road. Because before I went to sleep last night, I swiped Lucas Hayes' social media post. It's rare that someone like him, who doesn't even want to get married, would update his social media post one day. One day, he actually updated his social media post. I clicked on it with excitement, intending to give him a like after reading it. I ended up hearing the voice in the picture. Lucas Hayes had left the background sound on in the live picture. The delicate female voice was especially noticeable. "Are you checking in with that nagging wife again? Bugger, you're ruining my underwear again. Can you stay with me for one more day? I don't want you to go back to that nagging wife." With such a lively voice, I thought it was some sweet little passerby couple at first. Until I swiped to the last picture. Lucas Hayes' low, spoiled laugh came out of it. "Buy you a new one." Since I've known Lucas Hayes, he's as cool and reserved as the flower of the high ridge, and is subtle and introverted. I've always felt that someone like him would not be able to say such ambiguous words in a straightforward manner. After all, I used to say all kinds of love words to him in the beginning. Every time Lucas Hayes heard it, he would only interrupt with a frown with Autumn Hayes. "Can you be a little more reserved?" Lucas Hayes seemed a little surprised that I only responded with one word. He wanted to say something else, but I had already hung up. Unsaid, Lucas Hayes could only send me a message. "I'm coming back to bring you a present. What do you want? It's a sign of goodwill and a test." After his social media post last night, a close friend of Lucas Hayes noticed the content of the voice. He reminded Lucas Hayes in the comments section. "Brother Banquet, aren't you afraid that your sister-in-law will hear about it and make a scene again?" Lucas Hayes quickly replied. "Does she have any other means besides these?" I can feel the disdain and snicker in Lucas Hayes' tone even through the screen. He probably forgot that I had once added this friend of his on WeChat. I can see their comments. Indeed. In the past, I would have thrown a tantrum. After all, I really liked Lucas Hayes, to the point of being morbidly possessive. In the past, when a young woman appeared beside him, I would have been a foe. Lucas Hayes was sick of me being like that. We spent 3 years like that, tormenting each other. But coldly. When we got married, I was thinking that even then I would be with him for the rest of my life. But it's only been 3 years. I suddenly got tired of it. I calmly gave Lucas Hayes the nod and turned off my phone and went to bed. When I woke up with a start, Lucas Hayes' social media post had been deleted. What followed was the phone call from him saying his flight was delayed. I checked the flight schedule. The weather was fine in his city. There weren't any flight delays. Anything that would make him make such an excuse. I can't think of anything other than the girl in the background. Lucas Hayes arrived home at 12 o'clock at night. When he saw me lying on the couch, Surprise flashed across his normally expressionless face. I thought you said you didn't have to wait for me. I wasn't waiting for him. I had just fallen asleep while remembering my memories with him. Lucas Hayes handed me a gift bag. Brought you a present. I was a little surprised, thinking his earlier message was just talk. Lucas Hayes told me to open it. It's a little collectible figure. And it's cute. But not like the style of gift he would have picked. The dainty female voice popped into my head. Lucas Hayes stared at me. Seemed to expect me to say something. But I just tucked the gift back into the box. Thank you. Didn't see the expected expression on my face. Lucas Hayes frowned at me. Don't you have anything to say to me? Keep your washing up voice down later. I'm going to rest so you don't disturb me. Lucas Hayes' frown tightened. I thought back afterwards. What did he expect me to say to him? Ask about that social media post. Or who was the girl he took on the business trip? But none of that mattered. Even Lucas Hayes didn't matter. Lucas Hayes went to work the next day. At noon I got a call from him out of the blue. Autumn Hayes, didn't you bring me lunch? Oh, yeah. After I married Lucas Hayes, I prepared lunch for him every day at noon. Lucas Hayes doesn't like me, but he does love my cooking. I'm a bit busy these days. I'm not available, so you can order takeout. There was a sudden silence on the other end of the line. 2 or 3 days passed like this. Hayes family estate called. Tomorrow pays family dinner. Let me and Lucas Hayes go back. I sent a message to Lucas Hayes. But he didn't reply. So I came to his company, but Lucas Hayes was still in a meeting. It's okay, I'll wait for him in his office. Lucas Hayes' secretary watched as I headed for the other guy's office. Reaching out to block it. Anything else. As I spoke, I had pushed open the door to the office. A gray and white living thing suddenly leapt out of the office. Aw! I couldn't hold back and let out a cry of surprise. When I saw clearly that it was a British Shorthair. I froze. The secretary picked up the cat and apologetically explained to me. Sorry ma'am, I forgot to tell you that Mr. Pay has a cat. How could it be that Lucas Hayes kept it? He has a cleanliness fetish. When I wanted to keep a puppy at home I didn't even want to. Now how could he be willing to keep a cat in the company? And to let it into the office? That English Shorthorn has a peachy love collar around its neck. No matter how you look at it, the owner who kept it should be a girl. I don't know if it was to confirm my guess. In the next second, a playful female voice came from my ear. I brought shrimp and corn and chicken curry today. You can try them later. Good. Oops. Peaches, why did you run out? The conversation between the two exploded in my ears like thunder. I turned my head and saw a pair of men and women walking side by side. A chill rose from the bottom of my feet. The male was Lucas Hayes. As for the female, I don't think you'll ever forget her voice. It was the exact same background female voice that had appeared in the Lucas Hayes social media post a few days ago. The two were talking and laughing. Because of his height. Lucas Hayes listened with his head slightly bowed. A soft smile leaks from the corners of his eyes. At the sight of the English short held in the secretary's arms. The girl's eyes lit up and she flew forward 2 steps to hold the cat in her arms. Lucas Hayes' gaze followed her. Unable to hide the softness and doting. Until he lifted his eyes slightly and his sight passed through the secretary and the girl's figure. Saw me standing in the office doorway. Only for a moment. The smile came to an abrupt end. The girl was oblivious. She teased the cat in her arms while looking towards Lucas Hayes. Feast. Look. She noticed the sudden and abrupt change in Lucas Hayes' face. As if having a heart-to-heart, she followed him and turned her head to look at me. This time, I finally got a full look at the girl's appearance. It was just as I had imagined. Young, playful, beautiful. Her eyes were full of flashing crystal light. The moment I saw her eyebrows, I seemed to understand why Lucas Hayes would treat her differently. Because she looks like Lucas Hayes' dead first love. Lucas Hayes had a girlfriend in college. She was very nice and gentle. The two of them were the most talented couple in the finance department. Quite a good story. Their breakup caused countless people to sigh and lament. Later, the day before Lucas Hayes and I got married, she came to the wedding banquet and died in a car accident on the way. There is a reason why my marriage with Lucas Hayes was so miserable. After all these years, I thought Lucas Hayes had long forgotten her. I didn't realize that. The girl hugged the cat, and after her eyes flashed with confusion, there was a deep look. Lillian, who is this? She called the secretary by her first name. The secretary was already dying to find a crack in the ground. She glanced at the girl and then at Lucas Hayes, explaining, "This is Mr. Hayes' wife. Mrs." The girl repeated. She hugged the cat with a shallow smile. The young face had a bullying arrogance. Obviously, she knew me already. The inquiry just now was deliberate. And Lucas Hayes finally responded, striding towards me. "What are you doing here?" He looked flustered and stood in front of me as if he didn't mean to, blocking my view of the other man. "Kinda baby. I have something for you," Lucas Hayes said as he let me into his office. "It's not really necessary. It's just a question." But he seemed worried that I would turn on his mistress in public. He went ahead and pushed open the office door for me. There was a makeshift cat's nest in the corner next to Lucas Hayes' desk. There were also some teasing cat toys scattered on the desktop. I could almost imagine the scene of Lucas Hayes and that girl teasing a cat together in this office. Noticing my gaze, Lucas Hayes explained, "The cat is owned by an employee of the company. I'm just taking care of it for him." Funny. Who would dare to ask a boss to look after a cat for an employee? I didn't try to break it to Lucas Hayes. Lucas Hayes also couldn't wait to skip the topic. He asked me what I wanted from him. I was about to open my mouth. There was a knock on the office door. "Feast. Peaches is throwing up. What should we do?" Vivian Young came in anxiously, her voice still tinged with tears. Lucas Hayes' attention was instantly drawn to him. "What happened?" "I don't know. It just happened." Lucas Hayes took the cat from Vivian Young's arms. I watched as he tenderly soothed the cat in his arms. A few cat hairs stained his cuffs and lapel, but he didn't notice. "Let's go to the vet first." Lucas Hayes made a snap decision. It's as if he's carrying his own beloved child. I suddenly remembered a time when I had a terrible fever. I asked him to drive me to the hospital. Lucas Hayes refused impatiently. "Take a taxi yourself." Turns out I'm not only no better than that girl. I'm no better than a cat. I've been sitting here for less than 3 minutes. Lucas Hayes was leaving. This time I couldn't hold back and called out to him. "Lucas Hayes." He realized that I was still in the office. Lucas Hayes was about to speak. Vivian Young looked at me with tears in her eyes. "Ms. Main, I know you are looking for Mr. Pay. But Peaches is very sick right now and will die if he doesn't see a doctor." I didn't stop them from finding a doctor. Besides, wouldn't it be fine to go alone? You've never had a pet. You don't know. Peaches is like a child to me. I'm begging you. Let us take Peaches to the doctor first. I didn't say a word. Vivian Young was already accusing me. Lucas Hayes didn't know whether to feel sorry for her or the cat. The eyes that looked at me were also colored with reproach and dissatisfaction. It was as if I was unintelligent and delayed their visit to the doctor. Autumn Hayes, if there's anything, wait until I get back. No, they'll just say one thing. I stood up and looked straight at the frowning Lucas Hayes. Family dinner tomorrow. Grandma wants us to come home for dinner. That's all said and done. They can go now. Rarely did Lucas Hayes freeze. He looked at me with strange eyes. Is that all? What else? I kindly reminded him. You guys should go. Don't delay saving the cat. Lucas Hayes didn't seem to respond. He looked at me, wanting to say something. Finally, Vivian Young urged him to leave. That night, Lucas Hayes didn't go home. At 12 o'clock in the middle of the night. Instead, there was an additional friend verification on my cell phone. It was an anime avatar of a cute kitten. I immediately knew who the person applying on the other side was. After tapping through, the other person sent a picture of Lucas Hayes jerking off a cat. I'm sorry, cats are too clingy. In the end, he was young. The provocative words were dripping with a bit of smug pride. I ignored it and told Vivian Young not to forget to remind Lucas Hayes about the family dinner tomorrow. The other party did not reply. I was expecting to see Lucas Hayes at Pay's house the next day. I didn't expect to see his car before I left. They'll come to pick you up. There's a free car. It's a waste of time not to dabble. The passenger seat is spacious and clean. Looks like Lucas Hayes washed the car before picking me up. I leaned back and rested my eyes. A glance fell on me from time to time. In the past, when I rode in his car, I would always chatter the whole way. Now that my voice is missing, even the air in the car is quiet. Lucas Hayes' voice rings out as he grips the steering wheel tighter. Autumn Hayes, Peaches got a little serious last night and I was on guard at the hospital. That's why I didn't come back. He was explaining last night's night out. Rare. He never used to explain before. He even got annoyed when I asked too much. Now that I don't ask, he explains himself instead. Well, I know. I've been told. Who told you? His voice sounds nervous. The cat's owner. I answered truthfully. Lucas Hayes gave me a cautious look. Did you say Vivian Young? She's my newly recruited secretary trainee assistant. The cat was found downstairs in her company. It's not good to bring it home to keep it, that's why. Well, I know. I didn't really want to listen to his explanation. I interrupted Lucas Hayes. Meeting my slightly impatient and cold eyes, Lucas Hayes froze slightly. Autumn Hayes, why aren't you angry anymore? After getting off the bus, Lucas Hayes came to hold my hand. I subconsciously tried to pull away. But his grip tightened. Grandma. I heard his voice. I saw the old man waiting in front of the carved iron gate. It was Lucas Hayes' grandmother. Speaking of which, Lucas Hayes and I got married thanks to Lucas Hayes. Thanks to Lucas Hayes' grandmother. I'm sweet talking, and I often make the old man laugh. The old man liked me and held my hand, saying he wanted me to marry her grandson so she could be happy every day. At that time, Lucas Hayes and I were at loggerheads because of the death of his first love. Feelings were at a stalemate for a while. It was the old man who comforted and cared for us and mediated between us. Lucas Hayes and I were able to continue our relationship. She was the best thing that ever happened to me. She was the best thing that ever happened to me. Now the old man is suffering from Alzheimer's. I don't want her to see that there is a rift between Lucas Hayes and me and be hurt by it. So endured Lucas Hayes' touch and raised a smile on her face. Grandma. The old man watched as we walked towards holding hands, a smile on his face. Lucas Hayes also brought a few smiles when he saw that I didn't refuse. In addition to Grandma Hayes, the Pay family also has Lucas Hayes' mom. But I had an average relationship with her. At the dinner table, she rambled on about the old man's health. Then turned the topic to Lucas Hayes and me. You two, you've been married for so long, when are you going to have kids? Lucas Hayes and I were sitting on the same side. When I heard these words, I saw him look slightly stunned. This is an inevitable question at every family dinner. But in the past, Lucas Hayes would always choose to skip it or just gloss over it. But this time, he picked at the bones in the fish and answered. It's already being prepared. These words made Lucas Hayes' mom and grandma a little surprised and happy. I was the only one who couldn't help but frown at him. Lucas Hayes didn't respond to my gaze and placed the boned fish in my dish. Me. What's gotten into him? I pile the fish aside and speak in a cold voice. Well, see, I don't want to have a baby right now. The words left the table silent. What do you mean, saying that in front of an old man, when we got home? Lucas Hayes tugged at my hand, his tone implacably cold. I felt his anger and asked back. Is there a problem with what I said? Wasn't that his answer before? Perhaps the cold mockery in my eyes was too much. Lucas Hayes' hand loses its strength, and his gaze is fixed on me, as if he wanted to read my inner thoughts. Autumn Hayes, you said that on purpose, didn't you? You're angry. His voice eased, slightly helpless. Is it because of that social media post from earlier? If so, I can explain. Seeing him bring it up again, I simply looked straight at him. What do you have to explain? Lucas Hayes was speechless. That it was a dare or a prank, who would believe that? I kindly reminded him, you don't have to explain to me, but Grandma's health is not good. You remember to hide people well. It's not like Lucas Hayes didn't have other female companions around him before. But the time is too short. There is no way to pursue it. Only this time, he posted it on social media post. Even if it's deleted quickly, there's no guarantee that it won't reach the old man's ears. When he heard my words, Lucas Hayes' eyes flashed with astonishment. He carefully traced the expression on my face. Suddenly, he seemed to have thought of something. Suddenly, he let out a cold laugh. You've improved, Autumn Hayes. This time the puzzle person changed to me. And just then, Lucas Hayes' little assistant called. A feast. The atmosphere between me and him was silent and stiff, which made Vivian Young's call extra sweet and soft. I didn't hear her exact words clearly, and only vaguely heard the half-sentence. Can you come and stay with me? The emotions under Lucas Hayes' eyes were obscure. For a moment it swept over me. I'm coming over now. He responded, and the girl's voice on the other end of the line immediately became chirpy. Lucas Hayes gave me a deep look and turned away. Lucas Hayes didn't go home that night. There was no shortage of places for him to stay, and I wouldn't have to worry as much. Mockingly, I didn't go looking for Lucas Hayes. But that little assistant of Lucas Hayes came to me. Ms. Maine, let me get some clothes for Mr. Pay. The next day, Vivian Young stood in front of my house. When she saw me, a deliberate smile was drawn on her face. He's going on a business trip, I inquired. If Lucas Hayes was traveling on business, a secretary would inform him in advance and come to pick up his luggage. It was the first time Vivian Young came uninvited. She entered my master bedroom with Lucas Hayes with ease. She was picking out and organizing Lucas Hayes' daily clothes. Hearing the question, Vivian Young turned her head to look at me. Bright provocation spills out of her pretty eyes. "It's not a business trip." She responds. "Not a business trip. So she's staying somewhere else." I realized almost immediately. Vivian Young had already hooked her lips in triumph. "Ms. Maine, if there's anything you've left behind, they'll have to trouble you to send it over then." I smiled. Turning around, I went into Lucas Hayes' study to get a picture frame and placed it on top of the clothes she was organizing. "Don't forget this." Vivian Young took one look at the picture frame and saw a picture of Lucas Hayes with someone else. It wasn't me and it wasn't her. Lucas Hayes was very precious about it. "Don't break it." "Who is she?" Vivian Young's tone was colored with coldness. I laughed. "Lucas Hayes' first love. Speaking of which, you're quite similar to her. However, compared to the previous few, it's still a bit worse." Vivian Young's just now mocking smug expression froze on her face. She left in a somewhat wretched and angry manner. Afterward, she probably recalled that her performance today was unsatisfactory. She sent me a message. "I know that you're trying to provoke my relationship with a yen. I'm not going to fall for your tricks." I shrugged my shoulders to express my helplessness. But to Vivian Young, it looked more like I was ignoring and declaring war. So she broke her defense. As a result, she posted a picture of herself and Lucas Hayes on social media post for several days in a row. The accompanying copy was also very literal. "Glad to be your harbor." I knew Vivian Young was provoking me. So when she posted another group photo, I didn't hold back and reminded her. "Don't you know that what you sent me is all the evidence of you cheating on me with Lucas Hayes as mistress?" The other party was silent. A few minutes later, she deleted all those photos together. I was even more amused. "Everyone laughs at you, but you're the funniest." Vivian Young settled down. I didn't expect to see her again a few days later. But this time it was a complete surprise. My professor friend Samuel Foster, whom I haven't seen for a long time, invited me to meet him for dinner. He took me on a tour of his school. In the middle of the festival, Vivian Young stood at the entrance of the autograph signing with a welcome banner. When she saw me, all kinds of complicated expressions flashed across her face. In the end, she bent down and bowed her head to me because of her status. "Good afternoon. This way please." "You recognize?" After she left, Samuel Foster asked me. I hadn't expected him to be so perceptive and let out a laugh. "I've seen you around Lucas Hayes." The words were cryptic, but Samuel Foster frowned anyway. "You and Lucas Hayes. I don't have many close friends around me. But they all know about me and Lucas Hayes. Seen how I truly love Lucas Hayes. And now facing this with openness and calmness." Samuel Foster looked at me with gradual regret. It was supposed to be a reunion meeting of close friends. But when he looked at me like that, I had to give him a reassuring look. "It's fine, but don't let anyone get in the way." I was telling the truth. What's more important than Vivian Young's reunion? Samuel Foster didn't know whether to laugh or marvel for a moment when he saw this. "You, are still the same as before. It's just a pity that in the middle of the day, he had a temporary project that needed to be approved. Our meal had to be cancelled. I'm really sorry. When I'm done, they'll treat you to dinner to make amends." "It's okay." This little incident of meeting Vivian Young was soon put behind me. Samuel Foster was busy for a week. When I got his call again, instead, he said, "Autumn Hayes, could you please come to the Riverside Pavilion right now? His tone was earnest and serious, definitely not the tone of an invitation to dinner. I drove to the location and booth Samuel Foster had sent me. As soon as I pushed open the door, I froze. There was no one in the box but him. There was actually Lucas Hayes and Vivian Young, as well as a few others. Autumn Hayes. Samuel Foster got up and walked towards me. I asked, "What's going on?" He smiled and turned to face the crowd. "Now that both parties are here, why don't we ask them together? It's not a good idea to take one side of the story, is it?" Lucas Hayes looks dark. Vivian Young's eyes flickered. The other people in the box also had expressions of indescribable embarrassment. In the end, after Samuel Foster's explanation, I realized the whole story. Samuel Foster attended his friend's birthday party. I didn't expect Lucas Hayes and Vivian Young to show up in the middle of the party. Originally, Samuel Foster did not care. However, Lucas Hayes made a mistake in the middle of the party. He asked Samuel Foster why he rejected Vivian Young's graduate program application. Vivian Young is a serious and excellent girl. He hoped that Samuel Foster would withdraw his previous decision. "She applied under my name and I hope I can accept her," Samuel Foster explained to me. And what happened? Then Samuel Foster refused, and that's what Lucas Hayes said. But even after Lucas Hayes said it, Samuel Foster still refused. Not a big deal. But the bad thing was, at the point where Samuel Foster made it clear that he wouldn't accept Vivian Young as his student, Vivian Young suddenly stood up and said aggressively, "Professor Shin, is it because of Autumn Hayes that you are unwilling to agree to me being your student? I saw her with you at the last art festival. I don't know what she said to you. But you shouldn't just break a student's wings to pursue education like that." Vivian Young's accusing words and my name came out. The box immediately fell silent. People didn't expect this matter to be related to me. And Lucas Hayes' gaze at Samuel Foster took on a knife-like edge. "You know Autumn Hayes well, not too bad," Samuel Foster answered truthfully. Vivian Young stood beside Lucas Hayes with tears in her eyes, looking like she was being bullied. Samuel Foster. "So Autumn Hayes made you do it, Samuel Foster." Due to Vivian Young's side of the story and Lucas Hayes indiscriminately criminalizing me like this, Samuel Foster couldn't stand to watch. So he made this call to me to confront me face to face. And after I heard what happened, already as speechless as Samuel Foster. At this moment Samuel Foster looked at Vivian Young again. "This student, the reason why I don't accept you has nothing to do with Autumn Hayes. Don't you just slander others like a manipulator?" Vivian Young remained unconvinced. "Why? I have excellent grades and a perfect GPA. Why don't you accept me?" Samuel Foster's smile stopped and his gaze was extremely serious. "Because I don't need students with bad character under my door." As soon as Samuel Foster's words left his mouth, Vivian Young's face turned pale. The others in the box already hated to bury their heads under the ground. The words had been spoken bluntly. After Samuel Foster finished his warning, his face returned to that kind and spring-like look. "Let's go, buy you dinner." Me. I nodded and looked at Lucas Hayes and Vivian Young, ready to leave with Samuel Foster. As soon as I turned around, Vivian Young's exasperated voice sounded behind me. "You say I'm a bad judge of character. Autumn Hayes is a married woman, but you are still in an illicit relationship with her." The words startled. And instantly the box fell silent. Samuel Foster turned with a frown. Vivian Young glared at him indignantly. "What? I got you. Just you." "Aw," Vivian Young exclaimed. The goblet landed with a crisp, loud thud. She bent over to avoid it, looking at the broken, glittering shards of glass on the ground. The rest of the words were drowned out in the cold, unmistakable sight of me, as Vivian Young looked at me trembling with fear. I approached Vivian Young. She cowered, uneasily, toward Lucas Hayes. Just as I was a step away from her, Lucas Hayes stops in front of me with a frown. Autumn Hayes, that's enough, he chided disgruntledly. It's funny, just now I was slandered by Vivian Young and he wouldn't put a word in edgewise. Now I was just warning and threatening Vivian Young. And he couldn't wait to stand up. I looked coldly and directly at Lucas Hayes. He said, I know you're still mad at me, but we're even. Get even. I laughed. Lucas Hayes, if you have a dirty mind and don't behave properly, don't think that I am the same as you. I am so disgusted. Lucas Hayes blanched. I directly pulled Vivian Young next to him. Slap. 2 slaps were thrown down. Vivian Young didn't even have time to scream. My action was already finished. These 2 slaps. One is to hit you for seducing my husband, and the other, for slandering my friend. She covered her cheek and looked at me in shock and indignation. What you want to fight for may not be what I care about. Take it away since you like it. I ended with a mocking smile. Lucas Hayes jerked my wrist. His voice panicked. Autumn Hayes. What do you mean? Can't you hear me? I don't want you anymore. Let's get a divorce. I threw my voice, one word at a time. After we left, Samuel Foster walked me home. He looked at my dark, cold face and spoke with deliberation. Autumn Hayes, when people are angry, they say angry things. You mean about my divorce from Lucas Hayes? Samuel Foster acquiesces. I laughed softly. I didn't mean to be angry, and you don't have to feel guilty about this. It has nothing to do with you. Love is like a glass of water with gaps in it. If it leaks a little bit a day, it will leak out one day. And Lucas Hayes hasn't noticed or repaired it so far. Just like that, my fondness for him, little by little, disappeared. Samuel Foster didn't try to comfort me anymore. He just said, "Good luck." When I got home, I put together the things I had packed early. Lucas Hayes was away during this time, which in turn gave me time to discard old things. And while I was at it, I got a call from Lucas Hayes' mom. The first thing she asked when she opened her mouth was, "What's your tantrum with Feast again?" It turned out to be that she knew from somewhere that Lucas Hayes and I were having a falling out. Autumn Hayes, you have to stop being angry. Who can stand you? Lucas Hayes' mom and I have a normal relationship. It's partly because Lucas Hayes doesn't like me very much. But it can't be helped. Lucas Hayes married me because the old lady said so. I could hear the cynicism in her tone. And a bunch of words about how she wanted me to treat his son. Auntie. Not holding back, I interrupted her. The opposite party froze. What did you call me? I didn't answer her question. I just told her. Since you can't stand me, let your son divorce me. What? Lucas Hayes' mom's confusion was hung up on me on the phone. And Lucas Hayes arrived home half an hour later. I had just put the divorce papers on the coffee table. Lucas Hayes looked at me pushing the suitcase. There was a flash of panic in his eyes. He quickly stepped forward to stop me. Autumn Hayes, don't be ridiculous. He warned in a dark voice. His timeless brow was faintly disgruntled and displeased. I'm not fooling around, here. I've already signed the divorce papers. Just in time for him to come back and make up a signature. I gestured towards Lucas Hayes. The other party finally saw what I left behind. His face changed slightly. Are you for real? He asked. Just because of Vivian Young. If you don't like her, I can send her away. I won't even contact her again. He promised me. To this day, he still doesn't see that Vivian Young isn't the biggest problem he and I have. I didn't want to argue with Lucas Hayes. I pushed his hand away and opened the door to leave. Remember to sign. Of course Lucas Hayes didn't sign. Word spread quickly that he and I were getting a divorce. Lucas Hayes' friends came as lobbyists, but I ignored them all. Besides, Lucas Hayes was trying to remedy the situation. After I left the house that day, I went to see a friend. I found a job in his studio, and got a job in his studio. On the third day, the studio received flowers and lunches one after another. They didn't sign their names, they just said they were for me. Who sent them? My friend asked, seeing the look on my face. It's not Lucas Hayes, is it? I didn't say anything. It wasn't hard for him to find out my address. My friend snorted. If I had known it was going to be like this, why would I have done it in the first place, once I was head over heels in love with Lucas Hayes? My friends, on the other hand, saw the mismatch before I did. I threw all the flowers Lucas Hayes sent me into the trash. As for the food, it just so happened that there were a couple of stray animals in the studio's downstairs garden. Adhering to the principle of doing good by not wasting, I fed the stray animals. Unexpectedly, I ran into Vivian Young there. Autumn Hayes, are you satisfied now? She stared at me resentfully, as if I had done something sinful. Then I heard it in her resentful words. It turned out that she had been fired by Lucas Hayes. Not only that, Lucas Hayes had hired someone to clean his entire office. Those cat toys were asked to go away, and the desk was decorated with pictures of me and him. In addition, since Samuel Foster rejected Vivian Young's graduate program application, many people were speculating if something went wrong in it. As they guessed, some people picked up on it, and as they picked up on it, they picked up on Vivian Young being a mistress. Now Vivian Young has not only lost her job, she's also being discriminated against and isolated at school. Now she's so angry that she's come to me. If it wasn't for you, how would I have ended up in this situation? Vivian Young complained, already attracting a lot of passers-by who were watching. I felt ridiculous and even more mocked. You're to blame for the situation you're in. You're lying. It's all you. You've already become Mrs. Pay. What's not to be satisfied with? Why do you want to ruin me? Vivian Young couldn't listen. I didn't bother to talk to her. A direct phone call was made to Lucas Hayes. Come and get your little girl. 20 minutes later, Lucas Hayes arrived. He got out of the car in a hurry, directly ignored Vivian Young, and walked up to me. Chewy, take her away. Lucas Hayes seemed to notice Vivian Young just then. He frowned. I didn't ask her to come to you. I didn't want to hear Lucas Hayes' explanation and turned to leave. And behind me came the sound of Lucas Hayes scolding and Vivian Young's cries. Liar, you clearly said you like me, Vivian Young complained. Lucas Hayes looked at her indifferently. Even so, there's no one like her. Vivian Young froze in her tracks. Lucas Hayes warned Vivian Young to stay out of my way and had Vivian Young taken away. Vivian Young left though. But Lucas Hayes was still standing downstairs and wouldn't leave. This scene was coincidentally seen by a friend in the upstairs studio. He was extremely upset and simply threw a pot of water down. Bad luck. I thought that after this, Lucas Hayes would sign. But a few days later, I got a call from Grandma Hayes. Autumn, you haven't come to see me for a long time. When are you coming back? I can't stop seeing Lucas Hayes and his mom. But I couldn't not see Grandma Hayes. I went back to Pay's house and I didn't expect Lucas Hayes to be there. He pushed the old man's wheelchair and looked at me with a soft gaze and a smile on his face. "Xiao Qiu, you are here, Grandma." Grandma happily took my hand and rambled on, telling me a lot of things. I listened patiently. Lucas Hayes sat aside. "Hey, Autumn, you don't have a boyfriend, do you? Look, this is my grandson. Handsome, right?" Grandma suddenly said. Lucas Hayes and I froze at the same time. We knew that she was sick again. "Do you like him? If you like him, Grandma will introduce him to you, Grandma." Lucas Hayes helplessly interrupted her and explained with a light smile in the old man's confused eyes. "Qiu and I are already married. She is already your granddaughter-in-law." "Oh, is that so?" Grandma looked at me inquiringly. Lucas Hayes also gazes eagerly. "Well, eventually," I nodded. "Ha ha 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 ha. Good, good. Granddaughter-in-law, granddaughter-in-law. Ah Yen, you have to treat people well, okay?" After the old man admonished Lucas Hayes, he looked at me again. "Xiao Qiu, if this kid bullies you, just tell Grandma. Grandma will beat him up." She took my hand and interlocked it with Lucas Hayes. I was going to pull away, but Lucas Hayes held my hand tightly. I had planned to find a suitable opportunity to tell Grandma about Lucas Hayes and me while she was awake. But the old man was confused all day and fell asleep early in the evening. Lucas Hayes seemed to have sensed my thoughts and found me. I had long guessed what he wanted to talk about. As expected, Lucas Hayes asked me if I could hold off on the divorce for a while. The doctor said that Grandma's health has not been good lately and she can't be subjected to emotional fluctuations. "Ah Qiu, can we make peace first?" His eyes were begging, and his demeanor was even a bit humble. There was 1,000 pounds on my heart, making me unable to speak. Lucas Hayes and I resumed our short-lived reconciliation. Whenever Lucas Hayes was free, he would pick me up and take me to Hayes family estate to spend time with my grandmother. Life seemed to turn out the way I expected it to all of a sudden. On this day, Lucas Hayes once again dropped me off at Bua's house. Only this time, he suddenly said to Grandma Hayes, "Grandma, we won't be having dinner with you next week." "Huh, why?" Lucas Hayes laughed. "Next week is my 3rd wedding anniversary with Chewy." Lucas Hayes said to make a reservation. When he talked about the date, I was stunned for a moment. Lucas Hayes wasn't one to focus on rituals. And because our anniversary was special, Lucas Hayes never liked to mention it either. I remember the first year of our marriage. I prepared a surprise with great joy, only to be interrupted by his indifference. Now that he's taken the initiative to mention it, I can't help but frown. I was about to speak when Lucas Hayes suddenly took my hand in his. When I looked at him in surprise, the old man had already clapped his hands happily. Okay, you guys go ahead and leave me alone." On the way back, I couldn't help but say to Lucas Hayes, "Lucas Hayes, don't forget, we're in the middle of a divorce." Yes, even with Grandma Hayes around, I still hadn't put off the idea of divorcing Lucas Hayes. But I can promise to keep it from her. Lucas Hayes had his hands on the steering wheel. "I know, Chewy, but I want to have a nice dinner with you. Just this once, okay?" His eyes were begging and his demeanor was actually a little humble. I was silent. When I said yes, Lucas Hayes was in a happy mood for the next few days. He started coming home early and staying late. It was obvious to everyone that he was preparing for the day. But sadly, the anniversary didn't happen after all. A few days before that, I saw Vivian Young again. Unlike that day, she was in a state of disarray and paranoia. When she saw me again, she proudly raised her chin at me. "You're looking for Lucas Hayes. He's not here." "I'm not looking for him. I'm looking for you." "Me. I'm pregnant." It wasn't a thunderous moment, but it was a shock. I looked at Vivian Young in disbelief. There was a glint of pride and triumph in her eyes. I responded, "Oh, congratulations." I turned to leave and Vivian Young stopped me. "Didn't you hear me when I said I was pregnant?" She tugged on my arm and I shrugged it off. "What do I care if you're pregnant? The baby is Lucas Hayes." "Then go find him. I'm not the father," I scolded. Vivian Young suddenly fell to her knees. "He wouldn't let me keep the baby, so I had to come to you." "Me? What's the use of looking for me?" I felt angry and amused. Vivian Young said, "Autumn Hayes, I know I have wronged you, but my baby can't be without a father. I beg you, please go and talk to Yenin. Let me keep this baby, okay?" she begged while holding onto my arm tightly. I was so pulled by her that my mind wandered. I don't know where a wave of nameless anger came from, surging up to my heavenly soul. It was towards Vivian Young and even more towards Lucas Hayes. And just then, Lucas Hayes came back. As soon as he got out of the car, he went straight to Vivian Young and ripped her up from the ground. "What are you doing here?" he chided. Vivian Young burst into tears. "Feast, please. Keep the baby." Lucas Hayes looked at me in panic. "Ah, Cho, I finally got out of this mess." But my mind was still immersed in it. I looked back at Lucas Hayes coldly. "You're on your own. Handle your own business. Grandma's still sleeping. Don't wake her up." Lucas Hayes blanched. Vivian Young was still pleading continuously. The sound of painful crying lingered in my ears. I just feel like the sky is going to explode. Lucas Hayes' eyes grew cold as he tightened his grip on Vivian Young's arm. "I told you that I will give you a sum of money to compensate you. Why do you still want to come to my family? But this is your child. I won't recognize it." The latter was shocked by the indifference and clamor coldness in his eyes. Lucas Hayes said, "Don't force me." Vivian Young looked blankly at Lucas Hayes as if her soul had been taken out of her body. At that moment, I felt sad for her. Vivian Young looked at Lucas Hayes and me with indignation. At that moment, Grandma's voice sounded behind me. "What's the matter? So noisy." Lucas Hayes and I turned our heads to look at the same time. Suddenly, a silhouette quickly passed through Lucas Hayes and me. With a thud, it knelt down hard in front of Grandma Hayes. "Grandma, I'm pregnant. The baby is Lucas Hayes." "What ions? I have a granddaughter-in-laws. They're getting divorced. Lucas Hayes cheated on me. I'm his true love." Vivian Young's words fell. The old man's body shook violently as she raised her eyes to look at Lucas Hayes and me. Suddenly shaking, she fell backward. "Grandma, Grandma." The ambulance bell cuts through the street. The lights in the resuscitation room stayed on all night. Lucas Hayes sits crumpled on a hospital bench. When his mother arrived, she slapped him across the face before he could say a word. "Asshole, how could I have given birth to a son like you?" Lucas Hayes was silent. Her mother looked at me again, as if she had something to say to me, but stopped. She only asked how the old man was doing. Still under observation. The air was silent again. Half an hour later, the doctor came out from inside. "The patient is awake. The family can visit now. Be careful not to take too long." "Good, good." Lucas Hayes and Pay's mother excitedly entered the hospital room. I followed behind and saw Grandma Hayes lying weakly on the hospital bed. Hearing the sound, She opened her eyes. Her eyes skimmed over Lucas Hayes' mother and son before looking straight at me. Xiao Qiu, come. Come to Grandma. She raised her hand toward me gesturally. I did not dare to speak, hesitantly went forward. Seeing the cloudy but kind light in the bottom of her eyes, I finally gathered the courage to hold her hand. Grandma, now. She was rarely sober, looking at me with caresses and pity. You child, how come you didn't say anything even after you suffered so much? I shook my head, falling into tears of guilt. Perhaps I should have told her the truth long ago. That would have prevented her from taking the hit. It's not your fault. It's Yen who is sorry for you. At the mention of Lucas Hayes, the latter's body trembled slightly. He stepped forward and knelt in front of the old man's hospital bed. I'm sorry, Grandma. It's all my fault. The latter looked at Lucas Hayes with disappointment and pain. We dared not disturb the old man too much. We quickly left the hospital room again. Lucas Hayes' mom grimaced. Take care of your mess first. Don't hang around in front of the old man for a while. Oh, I almost forgot there was a Vivian Young. As the one directly responsible for putting Grandma in the hospital, Lucas Hayes had lost all patience with him. After Lucas Hayes left angrily, Mrs. Pei looked at me again. She wanted to say something, and then she stopped, and then she wanted to say something. Finally, she sighed and said to me, You go back to rest first. In the following days, although I did not see Lucas Hayes and Vivian Young, but I did hear about them from mutual friends. After the old lady was hospitalized, Vivian Young went into hiding. She didn't dare to show up for fear that Lucas Hayes would take revenge on her. But Lucas Hayes found her. She was in shock and had a miscarriage. She didn't even dare to go to the hospital when Lucas Hayes found her. My friend relayed the news to me. I was saddened. 3 days later, the old lady gradually recovered. I went to visit her and met Lucas Hayes. We agreed not to talk about that day and the divorce. But that day, Grandma suddenly asked, Autumn, are you and Banquet getting a divorce? Lucas Hayes and I froze at the same time. I didn't want to lie to her anymore, and nodded my head. Yes. Lucas Hayes, who was beside me, trembled, revealing a little bit of unbearable and vulnerability. I was expecting Grandma Hayes to try to reconcile the situation. I didn't expect her to just let out a long sigh. Well, Grandma respects your decision. In the beginning, I was the one who set you two up, and now that you're separating, I won't say anything more. She held my hand, her voice dry and hoarse. Xiaoqiu, you will always be the child that Grandma loves. My eyes were dry and my throat was hard to speak. After the old lady fell asleep, Lucas Hayes and I walked out of the hospital room. Now, we don't need to play games. You can sign the divorce papers. Lucas Hayes' eyes suddenly reddened. Chewy, can we not get a divorce? He put his head against my shoulder, his arms embracing me as if he wanted to melt me into his blood. His voice hoarse and obscure. I was wrong. I love you. Can we start over? When I loved Lucas Hayes, I longed for an equal response from him. But now that had said what ID wanted to hear, my heart is no longer in turmoil. When I loved him, he loved first love. When he married me, I thought he liked me too. First love's death came between us, and the rift deepened. As time passed, he fell in love with first love's double. For 3 years, we were as good as each other. And we were inseparable. It ended badly. I was silent. Lucas Hayes had understood my insistence. Warm drops of tears fell on my neck. Lucas Hayes finally signed the divorce papers. He transferred 80% of his assets to me. I've wronged you, and I can't pay you enough. Grandma Hayes soon found out about my divorce from Lucas Hayes. She closed her eyes in sadness. The day I signed the divorce papers was the 3rd anniversary of my marriage to Lucas Hayes. The restaurant called, asking for Lucas Hayes. Mr. Hayes, is there anything else you'd like to have in your booth? No. Just remove it. Huh. Lucas Hayes whispered with downcast eyes. My wife and I are divorced. We don't need it anymore. After a moment of silence, the caller hung up awkwardly. Afterward, Lucas Hayes asked me, Chewy, can we still be friends? I frowned. Let's not. It's best not to even see each other again. In the years that followed, we never saw each other again. The only time we did see each other was when Grandma Hayes died 6 months later. I collected the divorce papers and left with my bag. I got a call from Samuel Foster. Are you free? Want to have dinner? Yeah. I'll pick you up. From the shadows into the sunny streets. The wind is blowing and the weather is clear. Everything is a new beginning. End of story.